Hey, hi there. It's Eliana from Tavira, Algarve. And if you're a woman who is 50 plus, who can traverse the earth solo, you can draw in a community with your bare hands, you can take care of a family and maybe 3 generations of people while you're holding down the fort in your work. And when it comes time, though, to honestly expressing your voice, you freeze. This is for you. I'm sitting on a little stair here. My butt is so hot, but I promised I would do this. This is the reinitiation of Wisdom Wednesdays, I began this YouTube channel 20 years ago. Next month it will be 20 years. So I've been around a little bit. And I am coming back out. I have left a life behind. I left the US, moved to Portugal. That was my 4th transcontinental move. I've been here 3 years now, and last year I fell last summer, broke my ankle, and have spent the most part of this last year sitting and not moving. And I'm going to get up right now because my butt is like it's scorching. I'll show you where I'm sitting. Oh, that was good exercise. I could get up. My ankle is, that's a great sign. And the reason I'm doing this is that I'm ready to come out and to share my own voice in a new way, in this new iteration, let's say, because life is like an onion. There's so many spirals. Do you notice that? And I have noticed that as I'm coming out, I spent a year kind of sitting around, and while physically it's been a very difficult year, spiritually it's just so very empowering, so good for me. And coming out is so good, but it feels like shit. Honestly, many of the times, like when you get really, really close, when you take that step forward and you're really moving forward, then the shame spiral hits, or the fear hits, or the self-sabotage hits. So I thought today I'm gonna, a shame spiral started. It got triggered, and I thought, okay, it's Wisdom Wednesday, I'm starting again, and I want to share with you what I do and how I'm showing up when that happens, to empower solution. I know the intent isn't to speak about, it's not poor me at all. And over this last year, I haven't once felt like a victim, ever. But what has come as I've sat and I've dared to not push myself, and I think the universe had to have Eliana Gilad here break her ankle and be totally stopped up so that I couldn't push myself forward, even, in the name of self-enlightenment. No. Just like really learn how to receive help, how to ask for help. I've learned who are my friends and who aren't, and speaking a lot less. So you don't see me as much online. I'm not interested in the noise. I stopped the business the way it was operating over the past several years, or at least when I was in the iteration, the US iteration. That iteration just is not aligned with who I am and what's right for me now. But what is right for me now? So what's right for me now is to dare share what I know in a deeper way and how I've operated for 30 years to support you in, or all of us in this third age. If you're 50 plus, I want our voices to be seen and heard, so let it begin with me. And I wrote some notes here. Let's see about the shame spiral. All right, so why it's coming up, I gotta walk more into the shade here a little, is that the voice said bring the music back. And so I'm on this new beta test of now that I'm back close to ancient sites, which I really didn't know that would happen when I moved here. It has unfolded since I've been here. But I've started up with private immersions again and bringing people back to the sites and working with the ancient vibrations. And that's the thing that triggers the shame spiral, because there's a voice that goes, "Who do you think you are?" Well, honestly, I'm a Levite, direct descendant of Miriam, Moses, and Aaron, both sides of my family, both my mother's side and my father's side. And I have devoted my life and career to be in service to this ancient heritage way. That's what took me out of the U.S. in 1991 to France. It's what brought me to Israel during the Oslo Accords. It's what kept me in the ancient Near East for 20 plus years. And I've hesitated recording this because of what's going on in the Middle East now. And the truth of me is I don't live that reality. It's not woo-woo. It's just, maybe in spite of it, I'm really proud to have gone, to have listened and been true enough to myself in those years that we're talking back, well, with this site, it's 20 years. You go back and look on YouTube to July of 2006, and you will see the first video. It's really kind of funny. I started what was the then iteration of the temple pause, but then it was an open house, and I had a flyer that I wrote in Hebrew, and a friend translated it into Arabic, and I invited people to come. It's the first Friday of every month, and that was, that was an open house, and in there are Jews, Christians, Muslims, Israeli, Palestinian. One guy came over. God bless him. I don't know how he got over the line, but he got over, over the line, meeting over in the territories, and came in. It's like, there's solution. There's so much solution, even in the midst of the worst, and that's my intention of starting this, these Wisdom Wednesdays up again, to share that. This is not, I'm not sharing this for anybody to make a comment about Israelis or Palestinians. Just like, if you do that, you're not serving what the purpose of this is. Because what I understood, those 20 plus years living in the Middle East, is that if I react in that way, I'm part of the problem, and I want to be part of the solution. So, when the shit hits the fan, that's when the test is. It's like this last year of breaking my leg, being solo, moving here, not knowing anyone. How do you show up when the conditions aren't at optimum? And what I have been doing recently, since I'm in this, new testing phase and coming out and needing to learn how to operate when I'm still recovering. I'm not at my full capacity yet. I may be, I don't know what percentage, but it's not a majority of my percentage. It's really a slow recovery. But it's time to come out. So it's a whole new reality. And the only way that this can happen, it's so poetic, is by me learning in real time. I'm like in the air, flying the airplane while it's being built. That is what's going on with me. And this YouTube, YouTube has become my television over the last year. I've been watching and doing that, I've come up with, finding old videos. And I watched a video the other day of, from, I don't know how long. I have to go look and see. At least, it's at least 10, 15 years old. I don't know. But it's of the first part. It's a 5-minute clip from a documentary that a client's sister or cousin had spoken to them about, how these vibrations had so helped her. And I would bring students and go myself. I spent all my time going to these ancient sites and praying that I'd be able to record. But there was no technology. There were no telephones. There was no, field recordings where, you work for a university and have tens of thousands of euros or dollars to invest in field recordings. There was no such thing. But I would go and I would test this therapeutic singing. It wasn't from my head. It was from the inside out. And nobody taught me this. In fact, my professors at the university where I learned Eastern music said, Eliana, academia, don't look to academia because you're not going to find anything. You're a pioneer. You are holding something, and you've just got to trust your voice. Just put one foot after the next. And that's what I've been doing. That's why I took this ancient way to a hospital in the middle of war, 50-50 Israeli-Palestinian place. And this documentary actually ended up being, they wanted to do a documentary on the ancient feminine power of heritage sites and sound and vibration on our health and well-being, and the resurgence of that, and the impact of it in health and wellness today. So we went to the ancient site to record, and then went to the NICU, to the hospital, where I guess we were still working. We were still in the middle of a part of the project. But when I saw that the other day, it really, like, watching I wasn't watching, it was hearing, watching and hearing. And the old voice, I haven't been able to watch that because in the past when I would watch and I would see myself and the students who came with me.
Oh, that's so woo-woo. It's so, you can't show that. It's not serious.
That's what the voice would say. Now, I would go ahead and do it anyway, but inside of myself, like outside, I'd come up with a way to present whatever I needed to present to take the next step forward, but it was the lack of kindness within myself that I didn't even see. I just thought I was being real or taking care of, doing what was right to take care of myself. I didn't realize then that No, that's not true. I did realize then. Then I would sit and I would meditate it away. Because I've been on a conscious path for the majority of my life now. And, but seeing this now and speaking to a friend yesterday who, I was in a shame spiral, and so I called and I was willing to ask for help. That phone, this phone was like a bazillion and 1 kilos, pounds, just to reach out. But it was about reaching out, not to complain, not to say, because that is part of the problem. No, I reached out to somebody who I knew would not buy the bullshit if that started to come out, and who would listen to me and who would remind me of higher truth, of higher power, and of focusing inside, because that's always the answer. God bless him, he did that. He said, who are you? Who are you to, it's not your business. It's not your project. It's not your goal. It's not, it's higher powers. And we're in service to whatever we're being drawn to do. And for so many years, I've felt drawn with regards to, what's next, and for this third age, for the last portion of life, not the beginning portion of life. And I invested so much time and energy to really consciously think of this. I really esteem myself for that. But it's a whole nother level once you arrive, once you take the step and it's time to move forward. Then it's like the demons come out to stop you from moving forward. And that was what I was reaching out to him for, so that I could get past that, what feels like a rock. And what has been happening since February, when the voice has been speaking again, is, and guiding me back to the music. And I'm connecting to the music. I'm discovering these field recordings that are they just so soothe. They're like a drop of water, drip drop in a rock. And this thing about Sepphoris, that video that I watched yesterday, and if you're interested, I'll put the link underneath the comment section. Like, that wouldn't have happened. The whole reason that could happen, I forgot about it until yesterday, was when, okay, so I don't know how, I have to go look this up too. It's also at least 15 years ago. I've been at this for like 30 years now, all right? So even at 15 years, that was a long, long time to be at something and to not run when you don't have words for it, when it's something that, do you know that? Something that's a voice inside and you know, but you don't have words for it. I'm talking about that wisdom. That, like, I want to really invite you to stop dissing it if you keep running away from it or you try to figure it out. It's not that anything's wrong. There's nothing wrong. There's so much right with you. It's that voice is from another paradigm. It's not from the cognitive, and the cognitive can't figure it out, and that's why it's so frustrating. So, I'd been invited to present or perform. There was at Tel Dan, which is way up on the Syrian border, ancient site. It's like the site of the golden calf, or around that time. I don't know the exact biblical story, but I was the woman who hung around in archaeological sites. It was this weird woman, going, did you find rattles, shakers, finger cymbals? And, I befriended the archaeologists and the leaders in the archaeological societies. And so they knew of my work, and I was invited to present at some UNESCO, they were making it UNESCO World Heritage Site. So God bless you, the manager of this place, let's bring in Eliana. I was so excited. Like, I had been in a breaking point like this, or maybe a shame spiral, or who do you think you are, and what's next, and trying to figure it out. And, in between, one life had died and the next one hadn't been born yet, and I didn't know exactly what to do next. And then she called and invited me to that, and I knew, oh my God, this is a sign, this is a breakthrough. I was so excited. And so, and sure enough, once that happened, the technology for field equipment had come through, and so I bought this, invested in this field equipment. So excited. And I was going to take it with me there. And on the morning of going to Tel Dan, they call me and they tell me that the plans have shifted and they're not doing the musical part, something with UNESCO, I don't know what it was, but talk about crushed. Oh my God. It was so disappointing. But I used that disappointment. And I felt like, nothing I do works. This is the secret stuff that I would never share with anyone. It doesn't matter what I do, how much I show up, it doesn't work out in the end, so it's not really worth it why is it worth to act on faith? Because it doesn't pay off. And I think the money I was going to get, I was counting on that money to pay for, it was a good chunk of money. And so my income was compromised. How am I going to survive? The difference was I chose door number 2, the less known. And I listened inside, in silence, didn't run from the pain, didn't enter it either. And then the voice said, well, you got the field equipment, and you're not going to let that stop you. Go to Sepphoris, go into the water well, and go record in there. I wanted to die. I mean, the feeling was I wanted to die. I felt so, my wits' end. I didn't know what to do because I had upturned every stone. I was really showing up. So I went into the ancient aqueduct in Sepphoris, and that was the first time I used the field equipment. And it was so transcendent to be in there. I remember birds came in there, like they flew in from Jerusalem. They flew in from Damascus, I felt something from beyond. I really felt that. If anybody have you seen the new Steven Spielberg movie? I just saw that last weekend. It was kind of like the Red Robin coming in. It was from another dimension. It was like they were going, keep going, just keep going. And it was so powerful. And so, how funny, here's a bird coming right now. So, that's the subject, or those are the field recordings for this next temple pause at the end of this month. If you relate to anything that I'm saying, taking the next step forward, going back into the water well, and the vibration. It's, I don't have words for it. I really don't. But it is, it's an antidote. If you experience that, either on one side you're taking your steps forward and then coming up with a boulder that feels like a 10-pound boulder that you can't, that your old ways don't work, or that you feel like you're beating your head against the wall trying to figure things out. The actual use of this ancient way was to help leaders bypass the intellect and connect to higher mind and calm the anxiety, soothe it, so that we reattune and reconnect to the clarity that's in the silence behind the sound. So I invite you to join me and be happy to have you. I feel really good that, like, I did this now. I was even afraid to push this button. I'm making a commitment to continue this. I don't know how it's going to unfold. Please comment below on what does speak to you, what you would want to hear, because that will help guide me. And if this does speak, please press subscribe, because when I watch videos, I see that everybody says that evidently affects the algorithm, and it helps this to be shown. This is shown to powerful women. This is not for mass consumption. I mean, it could be. Higher power, excuse me. Who am I to judge? Who am I to limit? But that's not the motivation here. The motivation here is to have wisdom be seen and heard in its authenticity. And I know I've been authentic, so that feels really, really satisfying. Have a great day.